Well, I'd like to welcome everyone back to the DJ Force X podcast. I have a very special guest on this episode. I have Terry Corso from the band Alien Ant Farm. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for doing this first and foremost. I've been a fan of the band for a long time. So from Anthology, because that was the big one that kind of like hit everywhere here in the UK, especially as well.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and I just want to get this out of the way. I saw you guys on a very pivotal date in the world in London. Um, I don't know if you remember.
Oh
You played London on September the 11th, 2001. Um,
yeah, that was a weird one, right?
that was incredibly strange. I don't know why I ventured into London that day. I mean, I'm glad I did, but it was like all that crap going on over in the States, and I'm like, do I go into London? Is it a good time to go into London?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, me and my friend went in, and I still have the ticket stub for that show. Uh,
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was man, I remember it was downstairs from the Astoria.
it was, yes, the LA two.
And yeah, we were God, that was a it was strange. We were sound checking and just on stage getting ready.
Yep.
And one of the crew guys from the venue came up and said, "Oh, um, the United States has just been attacked." And we're just kind of like, huh? Oh, really? What? Just kind of what? Wait, well, it takes a couple of minutes for stuff to
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
compute something like that, and anyways, he took us down to their little crew break room and where they had a small black and white television, and we sat there and watched the second tower come down.
it's crazy.
And I remember it was a weird week
Yeah,
of just being, because I think we had to extend. I don't think we were going to be there that long. I think we just came for a small trip, and obviously, we had to, when there was no flights going out, we had to extend. But I remember it was like a weird week of kind of hanging in the hotel and wondering if I was going to make it home or
yeah,
when, or you know what I mean. It was just so much, and how what it was going to be like to get on a plane to go home. Was very that was kind of perplexing. Just kind of like, what? How is that going to be? To get on a plane again.
yeah,
And anyways, we did it, and it seems, I don't know, kind of like our bus wreck. It's like a dream now.
yeah.
So long ago.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, must like obviously I didn't even think about the flight back, like getting flights out of here and getting back, especially with like the equipment that you were carrying and stuff. Obviously, everything was probably meticulously looked over.
Yeah, there's
Um,
there. Yeah, it's a little bit for us to move around the airport and stuff,
yeah,
but yeah, it was surprisingly like the quietest, most like kind of friendly vibe in the airport when we did finally go home.
yeah,
I mean, it was like everybody was just kind of quiet and seemed vigilant, and everyone was just being as nice as possible. So that was interesting. You know what I mean? It was kind of like this vibe of, we really need to like get together and be nice to each other
yeah.
kind of thing. It's a shame that it takes that sometimes, but
It's
at the time I was ready to just get home. So,
yeah, yeah. It's like coming out of the pandemic and everything. Like everyone was
oh
nice,
yeah,
kind of going back to kind of being, people. In that respect.
somewhat of a reset, right?
Yeah.
It's too bad that we can't act that way all the time.
No, no, it's very true. It's very true. But on to more Alien Ant Farm stuff. You've just released a new album. It came out back in April. I think it was. Was it Matt? Matt?
April, yeah, 26th,
Yep.
April 26th.
So people,
So it's gone on what, like it's probably in its third month now, I guess.
yeah,
And
yeah, roughly, yeah, yeah. And how's that been for you? Like a new album, it's the first one in I think 9 years. There's like a 9 year gap between
yeah,
the last one. Um,
yeah,
so like how's the reception been for that album? Because I mean personally I've really enjoyed Last Dance, Fade. These were the tracks you kind of released like pre to the album coming out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I mean there's what was the other one? What Am I Doing? I think that was a really good track as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, how's that been for you? Obviously, after this amount of time, like what's the reception been like?
It's been surprisingly really good, actually. Yeah, frozen. I don't know if
Yeah,
that matters. I can still hear you, but
it's all right.
you're not moving.
We'll continue. It's fine. I'm just gonna.
Cool. So yeah, I mean it's definitely it feels really good to have something out as long as we waited to get something out. Um, the the response has been surprisingly good. Um, a lot of vibe to it, like almost little like feelings and moments of like when we first put out Anthology, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And it started getting traction. That was really like a cool feeling, for us being kids and it being our first record and taking off like it did.
yeah,
That was really exciting. And it happened it happened in a way that I see like some of the signs now. And I'm not saying that it's doing good or bad. It's just kind of, at least with our fans, it's very popular,
yeah,
which is good. But I see some of the signs and again omens, maybe if you will, of like of like kind of the olden days, of when we first put a record out. It's almost like we had to hard reset to do this anyways.
yeah,
Almost like people do with like catastrophes, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like we were just saying, but we were fortunate enough to kind of have this hard reset, which kind of forced us back to being the band that we always were in a way. And I think that resonated really well with our fan base, especially like our core fan base. And yeah, it just feels good. It feels well received. Like, social numbers are up,
yeah.
spins are up, and not, all the feedback has been almost 100% positive, which
That's
is insane. I mean, just poking around like socials and stuff like that, or
yeah,
or release things or YouTube. It's been really kind of overwhelmingly positive, and I hope it stays that way, and I hope it keeps kind of moving up
yeah.
because it's kind of fun to experience it again.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great album. Like, I've been listening to it
Thank
the
you.
past like, well, a couple of months to be honest. Between like rotational other tracks and other things like that. But I was not that I was surprised it was a good album, but it was like from the delay you guys have had. I mean,
Yeah.
I did get to listen to Always and Forever, even though you can't find it anywhere. I,
Yeah, I know, huh? I have to blame that. I can really only blame that on the label that we were signed to because they were kind of an independent that turned out to be a little bit deceptive, in their business practices. And
yeah.
anyways, I won't say too much about it, but unfortunately, like, they're kind of ones that have the power to take that up or put it down.
Okay.
And it's down right now, so I really can only look in one direction, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anyway, sorry, sidetrack there, but
No, no,
I
it's
wish it
all
were
right.
up there.
I was going to ask you, like, if it was okay to talk about it, like what had actually happened. Obviously, you've explained it there that the label isn't exactly kosher in that respect.
Yeah,
And
it turned out into just a bad deal kind of
yeah,
situation, and
yeah. I mean, it
and
happens. Does it? I mean, does it at any point does that material revert back to you? So then you would have control on it, or is there a?
yeah, I forget what the deal memo is, but at some point, I think there's a time frame where it will revert to us. I don't know that we'll ever recoup that record, so to speak, but
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
because I found, I mean, I found a stream of it. To be honest with you, it's the only way I could find it. It was like something, I think, like a YouTube video or something.
yeah,
Wasn't the
yeah,
highest quality,
unfortunately.
but listening to it, there's some bangers on there, man. There's some really good tracks on there.
Thank
Um,
you, thank you. It was
and
a fun experiment.
yeah, I mean,
We'll
there's a
say
lot.
that.
It's very different from a lot of the stuff you've done in the past. There's a lot of elements in there that, um, like
This
I've
is
said,
our first go. It was our first real go writing with like top line like co-writers and stuff.
yeah,
And we were writing with a lot of urban writers and stuff. So we were trying to keep it kind of like in this kind of urban feel, like kind of hip hop-ish, but
yeah,
rockish and kind of R&B hookish, but still rocking. And
yeah,
like I said, it was a fun experiment. We really got outside of our box on that one. And for better or for worse. But
yeah, yeah. No, it's just a shame. I mean, I look forward to hearing a decent copy at some point, hopefully, when you guys get it back, or maybe
I hope we can get that back up.
put it out. But obviously at the moment we're looking at Mantras. That is your the current album. And you know that's the one we should concentrate on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right.
That is the one on there. But I mean even that going back to like Anthology, that was a huge album when I was younger. Around the time it came out, I think it was about I was about 21 when it came out, I think. So it kind of hit me in those early years.
Oh,
Um,
those are good years too.
good years for music, indeed. A lot of my music taste is still there. I mean, I was in a new metal band. I got these turntables behind me, and you know, so I was
Oh,
scratching
yeah,
away.
I see the turntables.
So it's like that sort of era has a big place in my heart, sort of thing. So but I mean, going back to that album, I mean, I was in the car today and I had a British radio station on called Radio X, and like movies came on, for instance.
Yeah,
And you know, and like when I used to live in the States, I used to hear movies all the time as well as
yeah,
obviously Smooth Criminal cover, which like
sure.
huge. I mean, I play rock clubs, I DJ rock clubs and stuff here, and it's always a huge floor filler.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
um, but movies is as well. So you've got the kind of like you've written those songs of like longevity, but that album was full of great songs. And the
Thank you.
musicianship
Thank
on
you.
there as well from you on the guitar. I think was it Ty on the bass for that? It was
Yeah, our old bass player Ty. Yeah,
yeah. I mean that because I'm a bass player myself, and just listening to that sort of like what he was doing had like no
yeah.
reason being doing
He
all that sort of stuff.
he definitely set a precedent back then.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know, it's a great album. And then Truant as well, fantastic follow-up album. Um,
Yeah, Truant was great, fun, and educational, and working
yeah,
with the Stone Temple Pilots guys was wow.
yeah,
Like these guys are like fountains of knowledge, whether it's how to play, how to record, or how to be a decent human being. And I feel like it was like a college in a way
yeah,
doing Truant. It was kind of like going to like music guy college or something, if you will. I can't say it's like MIT or something like that because that's too specific. It was a lot of different, a lot of different levels of dimensional like musicianship, which was very cool.
yes,
And I kind of feel like I like to tell people that and I'm not comparing it to the record itself, just kind of the way it sits. I like to think of like Truant as kind of um, like our Pinkerton for Weezer in a way.
yeah, yeah,
I'm not saying it's as monumentally moving as Pinkerton in any way, but it was really a good record that was acclaimed by fans but didn't do much in the
mm,
marketplace.
yeah,
So to me, it just kind of I liken it to that in a way, and I'm a big Weezer fan, so
yeah. Weezer are great. I love that band. Uh, um, but then I mean, you followed up with Up in the Attic. Now, this is an album that totally passed me by, to be perfectly honest with you. In the first place,
yeah.
I eventually found it, but I think it was probably more. I don't know if it was pushed as much in the UK as possibly the other
I
two.
don't think so. It was kind of the product of a dying label, basically.
Okay.
Because and honestly, I wasn't even on that record. That was
Okay.
the one I sat out.
Yeah.
I was out of the band for like 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
and I missed that one. So, but a lot of the components were really cool about it. They did it with Jim Wirt, who was the guy that helped us in the early years, and I know Jim very well and have worked with him extensively. And then even the guy that replaced me, Joe Hill, was my friend he was like my mate from middle school.
Oh, nice.
Like yeah, like we were in bands together, like when we were kids in the seventh and eighth grade. Like we used to go to, like how they do School of Rock or
Yeah.
rock workshops, like where you go as a child or a kid and you learn how to be in a band. And we did that at a music shop out here where we live in Southern California. We did that together. So they couldn't have replaced me with like a cooler dude. He was like my friend, and a guy I looked up to as a guitarist, very much so. The problem was with that record, I think, and I wasn't obviously there to tell the story complete, but DreamWorks was closing their doors during the Truant album cycle, and they were kind of telling us that everything was okay and don't worry about anything. We were getting out in Europe and noticing like that our presence was very unknown, like it wasn't getting worked.
Yeah.
The album, our publicity, our press, everything had just kind of grinded to almost still. And that's when we found out, like DreamWorks was basically shutting their doors. So
Yeah.
what happened beyond that was, we continued to tour for Truant, which is when at the end of that album cycle is when I split.
Yeah.
And then basically anything that was on DreamWorks, because DreamWorks was a UME entity, like a subsidiary. They were just like a really cool independent record label, but they were owned by Universal Music Group, right? So Universal just kind of picked what they wanted to keep and what they didn't want to keep and what they kind of wanted to keep. So what they didn't want to keep, they just dropped it, wrote
Yeah.
it off. And then anything that was like, of high importance to them, was ushered right over to Interscope probably.
Yeah.
Maybe A&M at the time. And then, everything in the middle was sent to like subsidiaries, or even just kind of weak deals on like the other universal entities, but even A&M was going down. Like they were in the verge of shutting their doors, which they eventually did.
Yeah.
And then it eventually was just it was just Interscope. Even Geffen, I guess Geffen was kind of still there. Anyways, music business history. Hello.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
But because of all that, like kind of shuffling about, I think that album really got left by the wayside.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it's a good album as well. And
there's some great shit.
yeah.
Great shit on there, man. It's funny because I find it common that like artists who have left a band and got back in, whatever work happens when they're not there, they're usually a little biased or whatever. But I'm actually a great fan of that record. I'm always asking to play to put songs from that record into our set list because I want to play them and put my spin on them. You know what I mean? So it's fun. At least I have that, and I don't have to be all bitter and salty about it. I actually like the record a lot.
That's good. That's good. That's always helpful because
Yeah,
there's a lot of times where you see musicians where they do come in and out the band and then suddenly, they're playing songs that weren't written by them, and
yeah,
and you can see that kind of like not disdain, but that kind of like non-enthusiasm on the playing.
yeah, man. I've seen it firsthand with friends in bands.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say any names.
No, no, we're not here to name drop, so it's all good. If anyone in trouble, because Blabbermouth will just pick it up and run with it.
Yeah,
Um,
I know, right?
Coming up, I'm speaking of live shows. You guys have got a European UK tour coming up at the end of the year,
Yeah.
which I'm very excited about. The last time I actually saw you guys live was at the Forum in London as well, where you had Soil
Okay.
Local H as support. That was
Yep. Yeah, I remember that tour.
about 5 years ago, I think now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Three.
Are you in the London area?
I'm kind of, yeah. I'm outside of London, sort of
Okay.
southwest-ish of London.
Right.
But
Right.
that's where I mainly go for shows and stuff, unless you're playing on like the coast or anything like that, which I think you might be in this tour. Um, but it's quite an extensive tour. You're with CKY, um, and yeah, you're doing like the UK leg is from the 9th of November to the 30th of November.
Yeah. It's a bunch of Europe. It's like a Europe run and then a UK run,
Yeah.
just kind of bolted together like a Frankenstein tour.
Well, it's quite extensive. I mean, you're playing a lot of venues up and down the country, which is amazing. And I mean, like I say, I look forward to coming to see at least one of those shows. Most likely it'll be the London one, but if you are playing anywhere closer, I will go to that. But yeah, I mean, with
We're doing a lot of small rooms too, which is cool.
yes,
Um,
I've seen
well, and grassroots venues, most importantly, like because we're running the special with we're doing a collaboration with Music Venue Trust, and when you buy a ticket to any of the UK shows, you can opt in a pound, for to go towards grassroots venues in the UK that are getting kind of shunned and shut down.
Yep. That is I mean, it's a huge thing here, like, especially in the music community, obviously.
We've
It's,
been coming there for so long, we consider the UK very much so home away from home. We've been coming since 98, probably 99, and we really cut our teeth out there, and now it's so important to us, the UK, and we still have lifelong friends all throughout the country, and we've just kind of caught wind of what because of the pandemic and whatnot, we haven't been over in so long, and we've caught wind of what's kind of happening over there, and we're fortunate enough to have one of our friends who's a publicist connect us with music venue trusts, and I think it's a cool deal. I hope it really like helps.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, anything helps really, just even awareness. Obviously the monetary part of it, that is important because they need to keep going as a trust to sort of help a lot of these venues stay open.
Yeah,
And we've had like, look, where I live, I'm quite fortunate in the sort of surrounding towns. They have these small venues, and a couple of them, I know one of them was saved a few years back, just because what was going around it, but it was close to being closed down. And Music Venue Trust were part of this, and they kind of obviously they
they
helped with
jumped in there.
and everything. They also had help with like obviously musicians that had played there, like known musicians that had played there.
Oh, right, right. Yeah. See, that's good. That's good news. That's great to hear.
Yeah,
We spent so much time in the clubs there,
yeah,
as well as here, everywhere. Like, I mean, we still do get like this whole tour we did in the US, we've done in just like bars and clubs,
yeah,
and kept it very grassrootsy, and it's cool. It's a vibe. People love it. People, it's just not as as kind of going to a big venue and stuff is always great, but there's a bit of staleness there too, a bit of institutionalism, if you will. But you know what I mean? Like it's fun to get
yeah.
into the bar where you can, just kind of unwind, and security's, more lax, and
Yes, yeah,
it's way more intimate. You're very close to the artists, and I like all that.
yeah,
It was a fun tour to get into those trenches,
yeah.
so to speak.
That's awesome. I mean, I like recently I've been to take my kids to shows and stuff, and they've just been to see the biggest one in the world, the Taylor Swift show in London. And
There you go.
as big as that, I mean, that is quite it's quite an experience. I'll give you that. It's very
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Three
Um,
and a half hours
yeah,
of
yeah,
experience.
but visuals and screams and everything is crazy. And like, I took my kid to see Panic at the Disco and like at the O2, which is a smaller indoor arena, but and but there isn't that intimate. I've always loved because I was in a band back in the day, and I always loved obviously playing shows, but the small sweaty club shows were
Yeah.
always my favorite because you felt like it's like one of those things where you felt like you did a day's work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there was that kind of connection because you had people right there and you could chat with them.
You're like part of the scene at that moment.
Exactly.
It's such a cool feeling. Like you're just like, you feel like you're getting something that people don't normally get, and you feel like you're very connected to the underground scene of maybe like your childhood, or your teens or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's what's cool. I remember, as a young guy in the band in the scene, and we were coming out not even before like bands before Alien Ant Farm. We were coming out the same time as bands as like the Deftones and
Yeah.
whoever playing around our area, 311, No Doubt, all these bands. I used to go like just like going to the pub at the end of the night, like you said, after work, you go to
Yeah.
your little hangout, what your routine hangout, and you're seeing like bands play that are, yeah, you never knew were going to be so big.
Yes. No, that's the
And it's cool, but you feel like you're part of that whole
yeah.
scene. You feel like you had something to do with it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I mean, I love that feeling of I've had it a few times recently where bands that I've either played with back in 20 years ago or I've been following, like I've seen them in the tiny, back of pub type venue, in front of like 10 people. And, and now they're
Yeah,
playing an arena and you're like, you felt part of their story or you feel part of it
absolutely.
and you
Yeah,
just see this whole thing unfold and it's an amazing thing. but
Yeah,
it was
exactly what I'm hitting on. You got it. It's very cool.
anyway. And like with the tour that you've just done in the States as well, how has that been? Obviously, you said it was smaller venues, but how has it been on the whole? Because obviously, is it
It
like
was
compared to previous years?
and well, it was a lot of work. It was pretty ambitious trip. I think we played 33 shows, and it was we were out for just going on like 8 weeks, which is, for not doing a real tour in a while and being up in our 40s and 50s like we are, it turns into a lot of work. But we had all the fun stuff of being like being on your. It was total my first tour
Yeah,
kind of vibe.
nice.
You know what I mean? If you understand what I mean, like
Yes,
plenty of like vehicle breakdowns.
yeah,
The weather was shit, like most places. Lots of, it was all the hurdles and fun stuff too of those early days.
nice.
I'm not even mad. It was a lot of work. Like I said, we had some vehicle breakdowns where we had to do some pretty amazing feats to not miss shows, but I'm
Yes,
happy to say we did not miss any shows,
that's good.
and now we're home. So, and at least until this weekend, we're home.
Yeah, I was going to say you're off again, aren't you? And off playing more shows.
But I mean, on the whole, like the shows were really inspiring, and it kind of, now that we're on the other side and past all the work and car problems, etc. It was really those melt away because it was a really like important kind of connection to be made with our core fans,
Yeah,
and a lot of people that have hung with us for 20 something years, uh, or 10 years or whatever, or
yeah,
even if they just found us because of their parents
yeah,
or whatever, or a TikTok or some shit. um, it was cool to really, um, to give that to those people. Like, they're important to us. Um, we do this for them. Core fans are everything. We love the stories. Seeing people sing the old songs,
yeah,
seeing people sing the new songs.
yep,
Like, it's just really like helps us understand why we're still at it.
yeah,
And the realizing like what we did for some people at a time in their life is can be just solid gold,
yeah,
overwhelming.
yeah,
So it was a lot of that, which was awesome. And I think we needed that. We needed to do that, like just like the new album being a hard reset.
yeah.
Like I said, and us kind of getting back to being ourselves. It was important for us to get out there and connect with these people that have been in our corner for so long.
Nice. No, I mean that is the beautiful thing of that, and I hope that continues when you come over here because it's like obviously you were
I
here.
know it will, man.
Yeah, I mean I look forward to
Did you
hearing.
see a lot of those shows are sold out already? So
Yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to a happy homecoming,
no, no,
second homecoming.
it'll be awesome. I mean, I enjoyed the set you did at the forum back when I saw you as well because I was there.
Okay,
I was there guests of Soil basically because I was interviewing Ryan before the show,
sure,
and
good guy.
I had Local H on my podcast as well around that time as well, and I didn't know who your publicist was. I couldn't find anything out.
Oh, really? I
Um,
wonder if Emma was handling us back then or not. Usually it's Public City.
Public.
Emma Van
Okay,
Dyke.
okay, cool. I know the
That's
company.
usually if you want to find us. That's how.
Yeah,
That's how. Just
that's
call
fine.
Emma.
That's fine. I will make sure I look at it because they're not on my. They don't often send me stuff. I usually just get
I
sent
got you.
like when they come through. But Public City, I know of them. I have booked through them before, so that's all good. Thank you for that.
Cool.
In case,
Yeah. Well, honestly, back then I can't remember if we were or
yeah,
if Emma was doing that tour. There's been a couple of tours she hasn't done, and
yeah.
it's hard to remember which ones.
Uh,
But
that's all right. I mean, like a lot of bands change their publicist quite often, so it is what it is. But I've got you now, so this is all good. This is fantastic.
absolutely,
And
absolutely,
it coincides with a new album and a tour, so that's even better. So
yes,
it's
perfect.
But
It's
yeah,
the
exactly.
perfect storm.
It is indeed. But like I said, I'm looking forward to hearing some of the new songs. When you come over here, obviously, some of the classics as well. I enjoyed because I think you played almost the entirety of Anthology when you came over before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was mostly
I remember when we were doing that. I think so.
um,
Yeah.
and some of my favorite tracks were on there, so that was all good. And obviously a couple of tracks from Truant and things like that. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I'm looking forward to it, whatever venue I end up hitting. On that front, obviously, CKY as well. They're a fun band. I do love them. So
I've
so
never seen them live, so I'm looking forward to going out with them. I hear they're all really nice guys too. So.
yeah, no, I saw them. I did a tour with Skindred here in the UK, and I saw them at Brixton Academy. I think it was Brixton.
Awesome.
It was Brixton, and they were really good. And I think I saw them back in the day as the original lineup as well. So, but fun band no matter what. So it was great. It was great, and it looks like a solid lineup. Obviously, you said already like some of the dates have sold out or they are low ticket, so people go look it up. Go go get
Yeah,
tickets. Also,
definitely go make sure find out. You can go to www.alien ant farm to
yeah,
find out pretty much all show info if you need it and find out where we're going to be.
yeah. Go to the website. Hit the new album as well. Hit it on the streams. It's a fantastic album. Everyone's mantras.
Thank you.
Um,
We're very proud of it. Thank you.
it's amazing. But I've got a couple of questions left for you. I'm gonna knock my microphone.
Sure.
If that's all right, and I'll let you get on with the rest of your day because I know you've
No
got
worries.
to do. Um,
No. Some my AC problem. Back to my AC problem.
I wish I had AC in here. We've had a hot day in England, and
Oh,
and I'm in my studio, which has got like a black roof, and we don't get too many hot things. I can't have my fan on because it interferes with everything. So,
oh yeah, it's too
but
loud. Yeah.
yeah, I miss the old AC. But no, look, last couple of questions for you, Terry. What I want to find out, this is my kind of one of my sort of like one, you can think about this one, but it's one of my like sort of ending questions. But if you could pinpoint three albums that were most pivotal for you in your like life. So the one, for instance, the one that made you want to pick up a guitar, made you want to play music, maybe not necessarily your favorite albums, but the ones that kind of you heard and go, I want to do that, or it changed your perspective on things.
Well, I'm an old geezer, so there's probably a Kiss record in there somewhere, but when I was young, um, I had like Led Zeppelin 2,
Nice.
which was very important to me as a kid. It was a hand me down from my mom, and I was just leveled, just blown away. But also the Birmingham Boys, you got to give it up for Judas Priest was very
Oh,
big in my young life. So Defenders of the Faith was like the first show rock concert I ever went and saw at the Long Beach Arena, and it was just friggin' amazing. Like the production, the band. I was so into the band. I knew every one of their songs. Like so, that was definitely a moment right there.
yeah.
Um, and then what? That's two, right?
Yeah, that's two.
And then you know, I might have to go back,
Yeah.
like just to kind of get it a little more contemporary. Not quite, but um, like Pinkerton. If
Yeah.
I could fall back on that answer again,
No.
uh, that was a great record. It was a really cool record of a collection of music that was like the ultimate like sophomore attempt. And it's something I have a fascination with bands sophomore attempts because uh, it's something that I've said in interviews before about this record about mantras
Yeah.
and that there's a saying in the record biz that like you have your whole life to write your first record and about 3 months to write your second,
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
and that is the demise of a lot of fucking bands and
Yeah.
artists, and it can be, sometimes they stride it. I would say like Korn is a great example of like kind of weathering that storm and coming out on the other side.
Yeah.
um Weezer, obviously, but
Yeah.
I just think it's cool because you've just come through the accelerated process of this massively successful first record, right? Whatever, whoever you may be, and whatever record that may be, Like you've come through this accelerated process, and how could you not learn so much and be affected and just as a human and your growth and your musical growth, your business growth, like everything comes down to that moment. And I think it's really cool to see how gracefully bands can take that, you know. With mantras, I feel like we're fortunate enough with that hard reset. It's almost like we get a chance at another first go in
Yeah.
a weird way, you know.
Yeah.
At least it feels like that in a lot of ways. Um, but yeah, I'd say Pinkerton. It was just
Cool.
such an amazing collection of music and
Yeah.
songs, and it was at the right time, and you know, a lot of those lyrics really hit me in the heart. Lots of breakups and getting together and losing people and gaining people, just all the life feels
Yeah.
in that record. So I'm gonna go with Pinkerton.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that was Led Zeppelin 2, Defenders of the Faith,
Yeah.
and Pinkerton.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Pretty
That's
eclectic.
it is. It's an amazing three. I mean, from the land of Led Zeppelin, the land of Judas Priest, where I'm sat right now.
Yes.
Both, both,
So
both.
I guess I'm an English guy. I'm an English
Yeah.
rock guy. Always have been.
Yeah, that's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. Got plenty of good bands
I
over.
knew I had it in my blood.
Yeah. And Weezer as well. I mean,
My
Weezer.
mom named me after Terrence Stamp. Just to put that there.
Nice. No, to say with Weezer as well, that's a band that my kids have been discovering, not necessarily through me, but a lot of the
How
artists they
fun.
listen to. Like one of them, there's a
Yeah.
guy called Ricky Montgomery. He's like a singer-songwriter. He made it big virally, and then he's playing sort of club shows here, selling it out to teenagers, basically. Um,
Right.
but he covered the Sweater song and stuff like that during his set because I was
Oh, okay.
and I was like, I know this song. Like, I'm just kind of sat there like a typical dad. Like, I don't know any of this. There's people screaming. But he started playing that. And I don't know if that was for the parents that were there or what. But then my kid has gone on to listen to Weezer, gone on to listen to like other bands, getting into like Pierce the Veil and things like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously I've got my
Finding their way.
yeah, I mean, I've got my influence on them because I listen to various bands while I'm, music when I'm about the house or whatever. So sometimes they will pick up on that, but this is kind of like an organic thing for them. That was like just through who they're listening to, their influences, which is obviously it's going to be that era of bands. Like I speak to a lot of young musicians on their show, and there's bands like Linkin Park are their pivotal, Avril Lavigne, things like that. They're their gateway bands to wherever they are.
Yeah.
But when I was in my sort
It's
of
weird. It's cool to see kids move backwards too.
yeah, no,
Like
it's great.
it's respectful
Yeah,
and it's interesting because it's just there's a lot of good music came out through the years, and
yeah.
it's important to go research that stuff. You
No, it
can't
is. There's a lot.
imagine not knowing about like Fleetwood Mac rumors.
Yeah, yeah. Because a lot of
I'd
it,
fucking I'd hit myself in the head with a brick.
yeah. Because I'll say a lot of the time with the music at that point, like especially when we're going through our own sort of musical discoveries, like sometimes that era of bands becomes not a joke, but just sort of brushed under the carpet. Like the whole new metal scene,
Yep,
that's come back round again.
yep,
We've now got like people getting into Deftones, Korn. Limp Bizkit played Download this year and had the biggest crowd. They weren't even headlining.
yeah,
Had the biggest crowd, and it's just like this rejuvenation of that. We had the emo kind of pop punk thing before that, weirdly, because it came after that. But it's sort of, I think people
yeah,
are coming back, they're sort of listening to that emo stuff from back then, so My Chemical Romance, etc. But going back and seeing what came before it, and now it's that sort of like that era. So my kids are going, "Have you heard of Deftones?" I'm like, "Of course, I fucking heard of Deftones." Uh, and they're wanting to go to these shows now. They want me to take them to go see Slipknot, for instance, who are playing at the O2,
right.
doing a big arena show. I don't know if I've got it in my body to buy a standing ticket, but we'll see. But it's
Maybe they're good at getting your adrenaline going. Slipknot is so.
yeah, yeah, that
they
might be.
might they might awaken something in you.
They might, and
You
then
never know.
I'll wake up with a bad back.
I
Uh,
don't think us knew what we were doing was so timeless back then, though. It's cool to
yeah,
see it now.
no, that's the beauty of it. I'm seeing these like you bands like yourself like come back round, and this whole new generation. I mean, my kids are teenagers, so they're discovering all these things. And it's fantastic to watch. It's fantastic. Like you're walking past their bedroom and you hear this music playing, you're like, I know that one. Um,
Oh, that's great. That's so
it's
great.
fantastic. So, and it works the other way. I get to hear bands they're into now. So, like new bands
Absolutely.
I may not have discovered before, which is also good and stuff like that. But I've got one last question for you, Terry, if that's all right, and I'll let you get on.
Okay. No
What are,
worries.
that's all right. What are your hobbies away from music? So when you're not touring or recording or anything like that, what do you do to sort of that's not part of that?
It's funny because the things I do are still somehow connected. Um, but I do a little photography.
Yep.
I've always kind of, even when I was a kid, I was kind of going to concerts with my old Pentax and shooting film,
Nice.
and I in the last like 5 years I picked it up again, and I'm lucky enough to just kind of have some connections from my my career that I can go and do some cool concert photography. But I've been getting into some more, like I was getting into landscape and a lot of different stuff. I kind of put it down when we started working on the record and getting busy with the band again, and I'm hoping to get back towards that. Um, I kind of was telling someone recently that I just haven't even opened my camera case in over a year, and I went on my Instagram and posted a bunch of pictures of that I had taken, and I was like, should I keep going or should I sell my gear? And I got a lot of keep going, so I guess I have to now.
Yeah, you have
Um, and
to.
besides that, you know what I got into in the last year is building guitars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, building like parts casters and kind of building my own guitars for myself that are, built to my specs and the
Yeah.
way I like them. And I even got into doing some painting and relicking, and that has been really fun. I mean, again, it's connected
Yeah, it's
to
good.
music, obviously, and what I do. But it's really fun to kind of just lose myself in this project, but eventually the project kind of becomes my work tool or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting and fun. I'm
Yeah.
still learning. I'm not 100% confident in my own soldering,
Okay.
so I still have some help there, but it's definitely a lot of fun. I'm not like luthering, or anything like. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, but luthiering, is that a word? I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
not doing any of that. I'm just buying parts and putting
Yes.
together these Frankenstein's beasts of
Okay.
guitars, and
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. I love it. When I'm home, it's my dining room table is full of guitar parts normally, so it's kind of something that I just kind of piss with when I'm when I'm not doing something else.
No, that's really cool. I like that. Like that's something
It's
that
fun.
yeah, it's something I kind of want to get into on a hobby sort of point of view. Like I've got a couple of guitars in this studio here that need rewiring or need new pickups or something like that. And I need to get on it basically and discover how to do that. And
The good thing is that the good thing is there's a YouTube video for everything now. So
there is. I know. And as soon as I've got the like confidence and tools. That's the other thing. I don't have the tools
sure,
to get on with it because I want to get my guitars back up and running basically so I can use them to record and stuff.
killer. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
You
no,
should.
building a guitar from essentially scratch, and going through that part. Obviously, like you say, you're talking about is it lathering,
Luthering.
you know, something along those lines.
We'll
Um,
never know.
you never know. But going into that, that's like next level kind of stuff. And with the photography,
Yeah, that's hardcore like woodworking. Like I'm not there yet for sure. I'm just like keeping it kind of rock and roll and
yeah,
slapping together parts that shouldn't. That's the coolest part about it too. Is I have a couple of friends that my age and also guitarists, and we do it together a lot, or we'll like not collaborate on projects, but we'll keep each other abreast of our projects
yeah,
and ask questions and advice and stuff. And and that's been fun too. It's something to do with your friends,
yeah, yeah.
and it's cool in a lot of ways. I don't know that I'll ever get to the woodworking part of it, but the whole putting them together
Yeah.
and trying to get it like to something that I would actually play is pretty fun.
Yeah. No, I can imagine that.
I dig it.
Amazing. And photography, you should bring your camera on the road. You probably do already, but
Well,
especially.
yeah, last time I was over there, last time I was in England, I did take, bro, I had it with me and it was amazing because I mean, it's just all the, if I'm doing landscapes, so it's nothing better than 1,000-year-old, ruins or whatever. And when I was in Bristol, I actually found an app that was a map of all of the Banksy pieces around town.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I downloaded that, and one morning before sound check, I got up and I got up super early and just followed the app as much as I could, and went around and photographed Banksy pieces
Yeah.
around town. It was kind of fun, or
Nice.
what's left of them. Some of them have been dashed or built over or whatnot, but
Yeah. Yeah. Painted over someone's, done something on.
something. Yeah, there's one famous one that is like a loading dock now, but they've left up like pieces of it on the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
It's still there kind of, but there's a big loading dock right in the middle of it now.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's great though. Like doing stuff like that is like whenever I go away with the kids or whatever, we always kind of, I use my phone as my camera, but I'm always taking stuff like wall art, big landscapes if I can. Like went up to Scotland,
Yeah.
so you've got the scenery there, which is just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that stuff, man. I
But
love
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's fantastic. It's such good fun. But like, yeah, I mean, hopefully you'll bring that over, and I'll see you guys when you come over as well.
For sure.
Um, but yeah, no, thank you very much for your time, Terry. I honestly really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, I'm glad as well. Good luck with everything, and we'll see you in where are we now? We're in June, July, August, September, October. About 5 months.
A few months. Yeah. About 5 months.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see you guys then. Obviously, everyone go check out the tour dates. Go grab your tickets to wherever you're nearest to. Even grab some places where you're not near to. Just go to that. Experience a bit more. Um, but no, Terry, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Take it easy, man.
Take it easy. See you soon.